to you live from the heart of Texas, from Bakertown Productions and Clint Likes Everything. Get ready for everything news and talk. Coming to you live from the heart of Texas, from Bakertown Productions and Clint Likes Everything. Get ready for everything news and talk. What's up, gang? It's Clint and Curtis back in the house, here to rock you. We will rock you. Yeah, we're here. We're hanging out. We're ready to party. What were you going to say, Curtis?
I once built a city on rock and roll, but it's whatever.
Oh, man. Man, it's Friday afternoon. I almost didn't even come on today. I was going to be like, dude, I'm just going to chill, drink my iced coffee. But when I had the chance of hanging out with the lovely chat and my lovely friends, you're one of those friends, Curtis, I said, man,
thank you,
would you rather drink iced coffee in the dark by myself, or would I like to go online and talk about all of my favorite things, which is everything, because Clint likes everything. So instead, I decided we're going to talk about some She-Hulk. I usually prep a whole bunch of news. I've had a really busy week, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I've said, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to take care of these other things, and I did that. And today, I said, let's talk about She-Hulk. And there's so much to look forward to this week. We have House of the Dragon coming tomorrow night at midnight, which is Sunday, HBO. That's exciting. She-Hulk rocked my world, and man, I enjoyed that, and I'm just having a good week so far. So how about you, Curtis? How you doing?
I'm doing very well. First of all, none of that was true. Clint was on Tinder, and he was going, if you like drinking iced coffee and sitting there in the dark.
That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened.
No, it's been good week before school. So me and wifey McGee have both had long days, and she is teaching kindergarten this year. So it's been twice as long for her because they don't know anything. They're cute and wonderful and great, but they don't know anything. So yeah, it's been a long week, but I'm glad it's Friday, and I am very glad to talk about some She-Hulk stuff.
She-Hulk is going to kick butt. But before we get into that, guys, do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up if you can. And if you're enjoying this show, subscribe to the channel. If you hit that notification bell, we'll send you a reminder whenever we go on live or whenever we have a new video out. If you want to help support the channel, you can go to patreon.com/ClintLikesEverything. If you can't remember that, there's a link in the description. And lastly, if there's something you want us to talk about on the show, message me on social media. I'm the OG Clint Baker on all my socials, but you can find all this information in the description for this video. Anyway, let's get to it. I wanted to hit you guys with some news. What kind of news are we doing today? I thought you said there was no news. There's always news, guys. And one thing, I saw some DC news. It isn't actually news, but it was a cool article that I saw that I thought was interesting. And let's see, I'll pull that up real fast and read it. And this was interesting to me. And I said, hey, let's talk about this. Maybe. Of course. Oh, is my fan's not on? No wonder I'm getting a lag over here. Like Lagwagon over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember them?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, baby.
Yeah. So yeah.
While we're doing that, let's say hello to the lovely Bobby Anderson. Thank you for joining us Friday. Welcome, Friday fam.
Bobby! Clint, please don't ring the horn when I'm on here. Sorry about that, Bobby. It's just a habit.
She only asks repeatedly. I mean, it's
could you not do that, Bobby? Boop, 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 boop. Clint, please, could you not do that? It's just the only request you've ever made of me.
Really,
ever is not to do that. And kids still can't help it. Hey, why am I muted? Am I muted? Yeah. Okay, so let's.
No, I can hear.
Okay, good. Yeah. Dude, my computer overheated, and there's some crazy, wild stuff happening. But I got. Why are you so little over there?
Can't help it, Clint. You're taller than me.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
that's just
super
how it is.
weird.
Wild summer nights will be. Wild summer nights will be. Oh, wow.
Super weird, dude. There we go. Let's scoot you over. Scoot you over. Scooch.
Scoot.
Get a little scooch action.
Scoot your dooch.
I don't have to make it weird, Curtis. I don't even know what a douche is. There we
Exactly.
go. Is that teacher lingo?
Yeah,
For,
if you got
for,
one,
for
scooch it.
move your anus.
Yeah, I guess so.
Move your anus. You should say that to the kids. So here we go. I read this article. Jesse Eisenberg on the return of Lex Luthor. I'd be shocked if I wound up in a DC movie, but it would be a pleasant shock. I was like, okay, what is this about? And I read it, and this is speaking to an enthusiastic crowd. It basically directed a video, and he was, and somebody asked him about that, about being Lex Luthor again, and he said, blah blah blah. Hold on just a second here. Okay, there. I felt very. They asked how also expressed dismay at the response to his portrayal of Lex Luthor in 2016's blockbuster Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. I felt very personal about it. He said the writer Chris Terrio is a very serious writer, and he's a very emotional person. He thought a lot about my character, and I thought a lot about my character too. I talked with my acting coach about the character a lot and his backstory with his father and his emotional life, and then people hate me. And he said, speaking to Deadline afterwards, Eisenberg clarified that he would not rule out a return to the DC or even a Marvel world if called upon. I'd be shocked if I wound up in a DC movie, but it would be a pleasant shock, he said. Listen, I'm not a comic book fan. To me, it was not playing a role that I'd envisioned since childhood. To me, it was a chance to play a great character that this great writer wrote, and I loved doing that. So to play it is a joy, and to not play it isn't something that I'm going to be ashamed to tell my kids about. But that is not an important genre in my life, even though I love doing that movie. So he would still do a super movie hero? Yeah, because as an actor, you do all kinds of different things, and sometimes great roles show up in really commercial things, and sometimes terrible roles show up in independent films. For the time being, however, Eisenberg is keeping his diary clear as he prepares to shoot his next film. So anyway, it was just I was just thinking about that. I was sitting and doing some reading and thinking about this, and I thought it was interesting because to me, he tried to approach this as an actor, and so he said, okay, this is a genius. I'm playing a genius, psychopath, or borderline psychopath. It's more of a paranoid guy who's doing it's self-preservation basically, and he's playing a genius. And he didn't have the comic backstory, but he's and if you think about how he played it like a tech genius of modern day. You know what I mean? To where Lex Luthor back in the old days was played like a Bond villain, really. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and in making a realistic movie, I'm like, I don't know. I was just thinking about it. Should he be trying to stretch what we know as a diabolical genius villain? You know, is he supposed to play a bunch of tropes, or should he say, okay, I'm going to play a modern day genius villain, and play it like that? And it was just interesting to me too that he talked about, yeah, I tried to get into the head of Lex Luthor from what I knew about his history and his parents and stuff like that, and and I've taken acting classes where you research the character, you try to imagine to being that person. It was interesting to me not having the comics background that he is playing a super genius, a rich super genius. You know what I mean? But it was a complete failure because
absolutely.
nobody liked what he did. Like a lot of people hated what he did. Some people who liked him, but I didn't really care for his portrayal either. But as a creator and as an artist and things like that, after reading that, I felt for him because you could tell he really tried to get into it and do the research and try to behave the right way. It's just he tried his own a new take on Lex Luthor. He didn't know what the old take was because he didn't really grow up with that, and it fell flat. So what do you think about that? Like just seeing his reaction as an actor, does that not change your mind, but say, hey, you know what, this guy gave it a sporting try, just people didn't dig it, or are you like f that guy? He should have read at least 5 years worth of comics before he played this part.
I mean, he should have, but
Yeah.
but I don't like. I do feel for him because I don't like this. To me, wasn't. I didn't like the portrayal either. I didn't like him as Lex Luthor. This wasn't a him issue. This was a casting issue, in my opinion. It's the same thing as casting Topher Grace as Eddie Brock and for Venom. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't, it's that's not the character. Lex Luthor was a genius and a tech genius and stuff like that, but at the same time, he was as powerful. Like when you saw him, he was a businessman. Mainly, he was a businessman that controlled all, a lot of stuff. And when you saw him, he portrayed that power. Like even though Superman is more powerful, Lex, like you saw him, and it was just like he had that look. The businessman, like, ooh, he's better than me. I got to walk away slowly, kind of like thing. That Jesse Eisenberg doesn't have that. I mean, and if he pulls off some movie where he does, great. But I mean, in my opinion, that's Lex Luthor to me. He has to portray that power, and Eisenberg doesn't. He does it. I mean, good job. I mean, it's like from what he's saying, I can see what he's saying. About how it was written and stuff like that, and how it was portrayed. But it's just, to me, it's not his fault. It's just casting. I mean, I'm not saying you have to get somebody that's exactly perfect for a role, and we argued a couple times on here about looks versus actor. Should you get somebody that looks like it first and then teach them how to act, or get somebody that knows how to act and then make them look like it? But this was kind of either or. Like it wasn't even a middle ground. Like to me, that was not a Lex Luthor character. Even Kevin Spacey in Superman Returns was more of a, because Kevin Spacey can play a powerful character. All the other stuff aside, he can definitely play a powerful character. And I'm not saying that Eisenberg can't, but he's just not a powerful presence.
He doesn't have the gravitas that Lex Luthor deserves.
Yeah. Gravitas or look, or and I mean, to me, he's like he's in. It's shitty, but like he's like the poor man's Michael Cera to me. Like he's like that's what he is to me. Like
he's more like honestly, he's like a Zuckerberg kind of a tech billionaire boss, honestly. And I think that's kind of what he was going for, to be honest.
Sam Elliott would have paid you can still do it. He's still alive. He'd be awesome.
He's busy.
He really would.
He's busy filming the Roadhouse franchise idea that you had.
Roadhouses, yeah. Roadhouse Miami, Part 1, or
the one, the Mexican one is Casa de Calle. Just kidding. I need to make a shirt that says that, Casa de Calle. Well, man, yeah, I just thought it was interesting. I was like, yeah, this guy, he's like, he's like, yeah, I'm in. I mean, cut me a check for a couple $1,000,000. I'll do whatever you want. But like, like he went for it. He just didn't land it. So, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah, and he's a good actor. I could see him playing a superhero, but it's not like I could see him playing a good Speedball, or something like that. And Speedball was a throwaway character, however, became this amazing character in Penance, and that's whole. But I could see him. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad actor, but it's just to me it was just casting. Like Topher Grace did the best he could. It's just that's not you, man. Like, it's not your role.
There were some people that were
What if they cast me as Quicksilver? Like, people would be like,
like,
that's okay.
the,
Like,
dude, there's a pretty good movie called American Ultra that's Jesse Eisenberg
I
in
haven't
it.
seen it. No.
Yeah, we should cover that on Versus because
Okay.
it's good. The reason it works, reason that movie works is because guys at home, if you haven't seen American Ultra, it's awesome. The reason it works is because he is a wimpy dork, and until he gets, it's like MK Ultra kind of the thing, until he gets his switch gets flipped, he turns into a super badass, and it's hilarious because he's a dork. You know what I mean? You're like this guy looks like a nerdy wimpy boyfriend, and the girlfriend's it's like the girlfriend would have had to change the tire if they got a flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like kind of
Yeah.
a thing. And then until he's not, and he turns into a badass. It's a really fun movie.
You can
Yeah.
do that versus The Men That Stare at Goats. They're both based on MK Ultra.
I don't know what the men who stare at goats are. I know about
There you
goats.
go. They're both based on MK Ultra. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. So that was it. That was the DC news. There was no news. Other news out there, I heard that Regal Cinemas is selling a bunch of theaters and stuff to keep from going broke. They're shutting down several locations, downsizing and declaring bankruptcy and stuff.
I'd heard something about that. Like, I don't want them to shut. If they're selling them, that's great, because I think there should be a lot more independent theaters out there in the U.S. I think that'll help, because like Alamo and some other ones, you can do a lot more. I mean, I don't work for Alamo. Like, they know their business plan, but what they've done with those independent cinemas has been great.
Oh yeah.
Like, so to have more independent cinemas and people seriously invest in them is great. I really don't want more of them shut down, but that seems like the way it's going to kind of go.
I like Regal Cinema.
I do too.
I've
That's
always
what I'm
liked
saying.
Regal.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, they might get to a point where it's just, non sustainable. So
It's
selling them to an independent theater would be great.
it's probably if anybody who's been to Texas or from Texas will know about Luby's. Luby's is a cafeteria. They're all over Texas, and they keep getting into trouble, and they'll have like really successful stores, and then they'll have some that are just okay, and they kind of overextended themselves. They bought Fuddruckers, which is a hamburger chain, and it basically used up a lot of their cash flow, and then they had a bunch of loser stores, and then a bunch of really ass-kicking stores. And why are you talking so much about Luby's? Because I freaking love Luby's. When I heard they were going to
Luby's is
close
pretty
down or they're declaring bankruptcy, I was like, no. I love Luby's, and but I found out, they're going to be getting rid of Fuddruckers, and then getting rid of a whole bunch of the stores that are basically losing the money, and then keep the successful ones. And I go, I guess a good way to downsize, if you're going to do that, is get rid of the failing stores and keep the winners. So, and I suppose. I only read the headline and heard about 2 minutes of a video as I drove to 7-Eleven before the stream. So that's all I really know about that. So I'm talking out of my ass, but I just saw, oh no, not Regal too. I like Regal. I hoped that movies being successful again, and I thought Tom Cruise saved the entire movie industry. I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's a different story as well. But I will say, whenever I worked at Best Buy, like that's I think that's the problem, is that whenever I worked at Best Buy and everybody thought Best Buy was going to go under, and they were like, "Look, we're not going under." It's just that, like, the store manager we had was very good, and he was like, "The problem is that we are competing with the Best Buy that's 2 exits north and 2 exits south." He's like, "We're not Walmart. We don't sell food. We don't sell clothes. We sell electronics. We don't need to be competing with, these 2 stores that are, 5 miles away from us." And so, yeah, you flooded the market a little bit. And that, hopefully that's the case, and that Regal does stay in business, and, just thins it out a little more, and we get some more independent theaters, which would be amazing.
I watched Chris Carr on the John Campea show earlier today say that in her business class, she learned that Starbucks opened a bunch of locations close to each other, and their business actually improved because people didn't want to have to go 6 blocks, but there was one 2 blocks away, so they went to that.
Starbucks makes sense because nobody wants to wait in that line when you want caffeine. They sell an addictive product.
There
That's
you
a
go.
different story.
That's
Like,
why, exactly.
if you if they're they sell something that is explicitly addictive, and nobody wants to wait in a line for more than like 5 minutes. So that makes sense to me. However, it as much as people are addicted to TV, I'm not like, I gotta get my fucking giant TV and like
That's like in a bar. If you have like 4 bars in one room, like they're
no
all going
problem.
to sell booze. You just have no lines. That's genius.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D-
Go to
I've,
6th Street and it's like, where are we gonna go? Well, nobody's standing over there, so let's go get a beer.
I've been to New York City. Just stop there. I've been to New York City. No, I've been to New York City on a corner that had 4 Starbucks on each corner, and I thought it was
The nexus
hilarious.
of the universe.
Yeah, I was like, this is hilarious. It's on all 4 corners. This is great. And I wasn't complaining. That's great. I went to one time when I was in Philly. They had Pat's and Geno's on
I've
opposite
heard
corners.
about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that,
and
rivalry.
the rivalry, and there's actually other places that are better in Philadelphia for a cheesesteak, but those are that's the famous tourist ones. And I went to one and ate one, and then just walked right across the street and ordered another one and then I ate one there too. So I didn't do that at the Starbucks in New York, or I might have had a heart attack. I just will go to every Starbucks and have an espresso shot and get on with my day.
Well, and it's the same idea. Like to a degree, it's good for business too, because like there's always a Home Depot and a Lowe's right next to one another.
Mhm.
Like it's like, well, if they don't have it here, I'm going over there. Like so. To a degree, they do it on purpose. Bobby says, I'm really bad about going to the movies. I have a Cinemaplex 9 screen, and I don't go. It's AMC. AMC's pretty good too. I'm more into the ones now where you can get dinner and beer. Now God, you end up spending so much more.
A fortune.
It's crazy. Yeah, like it's $100 when you go to the movie with a family of 4. And that's if I'm not drinking. But it's just you could do, if you do it like once a month or something like that. Like it's I don't know. To me, it's better, and the food's usually pretty good at those as well. But we saw Elvis at AMC, right?
Yeah. AMC.
So AMC is still pretty good too. But I mean, I go because the kids want to go, and if you can't get out, that's all right. It's all about what you want to do. If you don't want to make the trip, it's no worries.
Speaking of getting out, didn't you say you saw Elvis?
Yeah, so
Oh, not Elvis. Top Gun. Didn't you see Top Gun?
Well,
Maverick? Top Gun Maverick. Come on.
I did. Whenever I got to work on Monday, we had some meetings, and then my first training was to go see Top Gun Maverick. And we got to go to the theater, and the school paid for it, and we got to get a popcorn and a non-adult beverage and watch the movie. And it was pretty damn good. I mean, and I could see why they would relate it to our job. We have to fill out. I got to fill out a whole form and stuff like that, relating it to my job. But like he's teaching in this one, and like it's all about teamwork and stuff like that. And like and one of the best lines, especially if you're a teacher, is like, so you've done very well at teaching them that this is impossible to do. Like, so get the hell out of here or whatever, and so then he's like, all right, well, I got to show him that it can be done. And then he does. And, like it was a very good movie. I would say, I don't know if it's worth the hype, but again, like it was, I'm very glad I saw it. It was a damn good movie.
Dude, it's going on surpassing like Endgame and stuff. which is just insane
In
to
that
me.
case, it sucked. Don't go see it. It's fucking awful.
I heard some crazy stuff. I'm like, is this the new Avatar? And I'm like, but then I'm like, no wonder it's still going. It's still not on streaming and it's still in the theaters. But
Yeah.
it's because now you have school districts contributing to the sales.
Renting out theaters.
Yeah, it's
Like,
contributing to the sales of this movie. It's incredible.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
and that's, I mean, it wasn't just. I mean, I thought it was a little silly, but I mean, it's better than sitting. But it was applicable, you know. Like he's a teacher in that one, and like he's like, I can't teach. Like I can do it, but I can't teach it. Like it's like, yeah, that's right, buddy. It's hard.
Dude, it's better than staying in training. Wait, I could go to the movies or I could stay in here and do like workshops.
Yeah.
Let's go to
Yeah.
the movies.
Well, let's go.
No, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, see what else Bobby's got to say up here. Hey, Bobby, how you doing? That's another thing. The price. I'd rather buy it and keep it. Yep.
I agree. Yeah, me too.
I'm the digital.
And Bobby,
I'm digital. I don't do physical media.
Physical media, baby.
I don't do physical media anymore. Not anymore. It's been a long time.
Good. That's more money for us, Bobby. It can be so collectible once everybody throws in the towel and gets rid of them.
Let's see here. All right. Well, how about Marvel stuff? What has been going on with Marvel? Anything exciting? Well, I'll say we had She-Hulk. She-Hulk, you fools. I didn't mean to say that like Skeletor. She-Hulk, you fools. I could do Cobra Commander pretty well too.
Was it the same guy?
She-Hulk, you fools, you buffling buffoon. He's more like that with a little slither in your voice.
So I'll tell you one story real quick. I'm sorry. Right. So when the G.I. Joe movie came out, I didn't see it in theaters. It was on TV. And there's a scene in there where they show Cobra Commander without his mask. And watching the whole thing, it's fine. It's not a movie, but the cartoon movie, you know, like from when we were kids. As I go to pee, like I hear my mom going, "They're showing it! They're showing it!" And I run out, and he's putting his mask back on. And this was back then, you know, like it was on. They showed it, you know, on TV, and like that was it, you know, until you could find it the next time, you know. And I guess, and to this day, I've never seen that fucking scene. Like I was like,
so you never got to see what Cobra Commander looked?
No.
Did your mom see it?
I never saw it. She saw it. She was like, "It was awesome." It was
oh boy.
But yep. So
well, speaking of awesome, man,
what did you with your streaming and stuff, guys? I'm sorry.
What did you think of? I'm sad you missed it, man. Let's do. Yeah. Let's do She-Hulk talk.
All right.
Bum, 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 bum. Man, I really enjoyed She-Hulk. I don't know about you, man, but I really enjoyed it. It was fun from the very beginning. You know, it starts out with her talking to breaking the fourth wall, talking to us, and she's already a Hulk. And then they go back, and this is a spoiler, by the way, if anybody's watching. Hold on, I gotta adjust this real fast.
Bobby says you watched Prey too.
Hell yes, Prey was badass. I have to change this real quick. Oh, fonts.
I was saying, oh, and She-Hulk. All right, Bob.
Yeah,
I was saying Prey was my favorite sequel. Some people are saying it's better than the original. I can't agree with that, But
There we go.
oh,
I got I
nice
All
save,
right.
nice save.
How's this for being there we go. I didn't like the width of that dash, so I had to change the dash, as the dash was too long. I was like, I can't. That's not okay. All right. So anyway, there we go. Still not sure about this.
This is why we don't have a producer, guys, because we've actually had several people doing it, and Clint has brutally murdered them in their sleep because of their long dashes and extra spaces.
Yeah.
You know. So we've had some. It just
get your long dash out of my face. Wait, never mind. Yeah, no, man, I really enjoyed She-Hulk. It was cool. Like, they started out in the beginning, breaking the fourth wall. She's already a Hulk. Then they give you the backstory. You got Bruce and her driving down the road. Then you get an alien ship, Sicarian, pops down and runs him off the road. He bleeds into her. He gets cut because he's got a device that keeps him in human form, not Hulk form. Which was cool because that explained some things, like what was going on there. And then
and what was cool is people there, I saw some clips in Eternals. He still had the device. He actually had the device on him in Eternals at the end credit scene.
Oh, he did. They didn't just pull that out of their ass for She-Hulk. That was already that was in there. That's cool. Yeah, and then what was cool is also he used her blood later to figure out how to fix his arm, which was hurt from Endgame and all that. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it was really cool. She gets out, she changes, and you kind of had an idea what was going to go down from the trailer, where you see him running tests on her, and he's got her in that thing, and a container unit with the spinning blades, and she hulks out, rips the door off, and all that. But it was really cool. It was fun. And like they pretty much, like, it reminded me when they get in a car wreck. I don't know. I think a lot of this show is giving a nod to the old Incredible Hulk TV show. I don't know if you've noticed that or thought about it, but I
didn't think about it.
I saw a lot of complainers, dude. A lot of like, we were talking about this before the show. There's a lot of bro flakes out there that are all like, the women are talking about us stuff, and I didn't think it was that bad. I was ready for that. I was ready for a bunch of like super empowered woman talk. It was nothing. It was like there was nothing, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? But you get a lot of like macho dudes that are like, it's the same as like, oh yeah, they gender swapped this role because the women are coming for our franchises and all this crap. I had a great time. For one, She-Hulk is a 45-year-old character, and two, she's been breaking the fourth wall for a million years. She was doing it before
Deadpool.
Yeah, before Deadpool. So she's not stealing anybody's gimmick or anything. And they didn't actually go dig into that as much as I believed that they would. I would have liked to seen some more of that. They kind of touched on it a little when she, she's like looks over and is like, he didn't mean it, and then he turns around or whatever. I would like to see a lot more of that. But I thought it was cool that in the intro, like the beginning part, they're going back and talking about a lot of things and explaining a lot of things, like where Hulk was and how me and Tony built this bar and all that. I liked all the backstory. What did you think about the at least the first opening part and kind of the explanation of how she got to be She-Hulk, because I know it's different than the comics, and how did you like up into that part of the show? How did you feel about all that stuff?
Well, and that I agree. So a lot of that was good. Like telling it through flashback. I don't know, with a new character like that I wasn't a huge fan of that, but it ended up working by the end of the episode. But telling a story through flashback for a new character kind of uh, doesn't always work for me. But and at the same time too, like this thing, they changed several things from the comics. Of course, they did. The MCU is good at streamlining some things, and let's be honest, not good at streamlining others. But the original She-Hulk was like the Hulk. She was the savage She-Hulk, and then she had to deal with it and figure it out, and then moved on to the sensational She-Hulk, and then She-Hulk, and blah blah blah. There are several iterations, just like any other character that's been around, like Clint was saying, like for 50 years or whatever it is. But she, and I think that's why that we had the training sequence in the show, because originally she was the savage She-Hulk. She was like the Hulk, and then she got to control it. So this is showing the Hulk kind of preempting that, saying let's control this and let's figure this out. But the MCU streamlined it. She didn't need to. They changed her origin, which some people are just super mad about for some reason. But again, in the comics, she got shot because she was a lawyer, and like they're probably not just don't want to show that now, don't need to show that now. And then Bruce Banner decides to give her a blood transfusion to save her life. Now, the MCU, Bruce Banner would probably still do that if it was necessary, but again, he's probably going to be like, well, he's smart enough to know I'm going to turn her into a Hulk. Like this is going to kind of ruin her life at the same time. Maybe we can call a cousin or something, or an aunt. Like maybe we can figure it. So again, they kind of streamlined it. So
well,
with
that would bring in like major drama if all of a sudden you're like, crap, I can either turn her into a Hulk, into this thing that I hate that I'm in this situation. I can either curse her to this fate, or I let her die. And you're like, you're trapped into, basically cornered into having to turn her into a Hulk to save her life. It's like that makes for good drama. But I agree with you. I like how they did it, and they didn't waste a lot of time. They just kind of glazed over it and got to get like,
they did.
Let's get over the origin so we can get to the good stuff,
And well, and you bring up a good point too. That's one of the things I was reading some articles about the Hulk in general, because of some theories I have, but like that's kind of why the Hulk movies haven't been successful yet. First of all, because they haven't had we are all comfortable with Ruffalo as Banner now, and that makes him and Banner himself a more interesting character. But second of all, it's either like the Hulk that is now, or they go the dark route, because as Bobby says, Bill Bixby was a great Bruce Banner, and the series was great, but it was kind of dark. He was living with this monster. He didn't, it wasn't. So I don't know if Marvel's going to go down that road. Obviously, they're not with She-Hulk or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, if there were to be a Hulk sequel movie, like if they would go down that road, they'd kind of, have to a little bit. And they got the origin out of the way, and they were like, let's have fun, and you're like this thing, you're right too. The lab that he and Tony built during the blip was great, and it's also great that they built a bar there too, to be like, you're Hulk, you need to relax, bro. Like
yeah, he's like, we metabolize alcohol at an incredible rate. I'm like, what? And then I was like, what does that mean? That means you can't get drunk. You're like the Flash or Superman. You can't get drunk. And then he's like, no, all buzz, no barf. And I go, oh, okay. But then they still get
living the dream, baby.
But then they still get hung over. So I'm like, wait, you just you spend twice as much money.
But she does, because she reverts back to Jen when she sleeps.
Oh,
so once she goes to sleep, her body metabolizes all of that alcohol regularly.
There you go. That makes sense. Oh, and then what I was gonna say earlier is because we were talking, there's a lot of complainers and haters on this show, a lot of broflakes, but somebody was trying to crap on this show and was like, yeah, they didn't even want to spend the money to like show him turn into Hulk. They just showed him look at the camera, and then they just panned away so that they didn't have to show that. And I'm like, no, that is a complete Bill Bixby Hulk thing that they did. They showed him when he's
Yeah.
outside of the car, and they show him, and he's from the side view, and then he's like, he looks at the camera,
Yeah.
and he
He's
like
got the
starts
green contacts in.
yeah, and he starts to turn. That is total old school Hulk, and I was a huge fan of the old
Yeah.
school Hulk. This really gave me a lot of flashbacks to Hulk, to things that I liked, like from a child, about the Hulk. And there was a point where they were like, I don't remember if they were actually fighting at this point or if they were competing and stuff, but there's a point where the Hulk, where She-Hulk, she just does a rah, type of a thing, and it was a very like Lou Ferrigno kind of a Hulk
Yeah.
scream that he would do, and I loved it. I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, even though she's completely there and she's completely conscious and herself, she still gives that roar, the
Yeah.
angry Hulk roar. And sometimes she's doing it and making fun, which was kind of funny, where
Yeah.
she'd jump and land and then start going, oh, like on purpose, but kind of making fun of Hulk. I thought it was fun. It was playful and cool. And like I said, there was that nod. There's also Bill Bixby courtroom scenes and stuff. There was a Daredevil Hulk movie, and there was some courtroom scenes with the Hulk and stuff, and I kind of got vibes of that from this too, when she turns. And I thought it was weird because like when Titania at the end shows up, for one, the costume's just something, but it's supposed to be
straight up a
super-
costume boy. Yeah. It's a
yeah,
costume.
it's like, wow, that's loud. But she's kind of an eccentric actress anyway, you know what I mean? But the thing that got me was that flying jump kick. And the way she just flies across just like, like flying jump kick, and I'm like, what the hell? And but with the music kicking in, it's supposed to be ridiculous. And the
Right.
and that writer too. That writer wrote the Pickle Rick episode for Rick and Morty. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, we're done here. Like, I did not know that. We're
Yeah.
fucking-
So
like,
I'm like,
that's
yeah.
genius in a bottle.
Yeah, as soon as I found that out, I'm like, oh, this could get ridiculous sometimes. And I'm totally cool with that if I know. You know what I mean? And it still was like, and it got that, you have a flying jump kick across the screen. They're doing like wire work across the screen.
Yeah.
And then you get like the 70s horns kick in to where I'm like, oh, is this like a weird again? Flashback to the old Hulk TV show again with this weird shit at the end. I don't know. What were you gonna say, Curtis?
Well, like that's the thing. The She-Hulk comic is a comedy. Like it's a comic. Like it's. I mean, now it gets serious. It gets. It is a legal drama. I mean, again, different iterations, but She-Hulk, not Savage or Sensational. Like it's a comedy book. Like I'm glad they're pursuing that with this. It's funny, and like that's the thing. I think they're showing you, because some people were like, it was just like fun but a little over the top, and it's like, and I don't think it's gonna be like that all the way through. There's gonna there's gonna be drama. There's gonna be intense action and stuff like that. But they're showing you straight up, like kind of like you were saying, like this is how this is a comedy. This is how it's gonna be. This is the purpose of this character. And like it's kind of like Miss Marvel, the first Miss Marvel, although like it was too much teeny bopper for me, but they were like, okay, here's what's coming, and
Miss
then
Marvel?
it definitely tapered off. Yes, it definitely tapered off. The last episode or two brought it way back up, but then it like the meat of the story, wasn't like that. So with this one, like it just is gonna be this fun show that we'll get into some other stuff, and we'll bring in, like I said, there's so many crossovers with She-Hulk because she is such a great character. This is probably going to be a primer for a lot of new heroes. And if you didn't know what you were in for, you do now. Like it's just going to be a really fun time.
I liked it. It feels like the real Marvel universe, but when it gets into the courtroom and that fight scene at the end, it changes tones for sure. You know what I mean? but I think it's gonna be cool. And I like the dumb stuff like, oh hey, quick, take your shoes off and stuff, like, cause
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
she's like, I like this outfit. She's like, oh, I don't.
Mm,
Then her friend is like, take your shoes off. Um,
yeah.
uh, in the chat, I just shared a link. I watched a cool YouTube video today that went through like a history of like the Incredible Hulk and all of the movies from like the Bill Bixby Hulk to from that to the from the series to the 5 years of the series to the movies that they made. They had a comeback and they made some movies. Then they also did a Daredevil thing and a Thor thing and like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah and then they were gonna make a Daredevil TV show, and apparently the Flash, I think it was NBC, bought it to get rid of it. Bought it so it wouldn't come out, and because
Oh
they
man.
were putting out the Flash that year, and they didn't want a competing comic book series. And I don't know if you remember the '90s Flash
Oh
movie
yeah. It was
series.
awesome.
Yeah, I remember. I loved it. But yeah, there was also supposed to be a Daredevil show then, and it never came out because of the Flash. They bought it and shelved it. So I thought that was crazy.
Now I hate
But
it.
yeah, but anyway, it's a cool video. So it's in the comments there. If you get bored later, come back and watch that. So I enjoyed that. It was a lot of
Well,
stuff that I didn't remember anymore. I was like, man, I vaguely remember the Thor appearance and all that.
and they didn't call him. They called him the Barbarian or something like, or the
Yeah,
Viking. Like they didn't call him Thor ever. But
and they
I will
also
say too. Go ahead.
there's also interviews with like some of the actors and stuff, and Lou Ferrigno and different people in this video too. So that's kind of cool.
What's cool too is if you buy the DVD of the Hulk series, it comes with the movies, but it also comes with a documentary about Lou competing in the Mr. Olympia for I don't know the name, but it's the Mr. Olympia for people over 50.
Oh
And
wow.
it's Lou when he's 50 and he's competing against other Olympia candidates. And I mean, it's really good. But one of the best parts is uh, he pulls something and he goes to the doctor, and the doctor's like, all right, well, we'll check it out and blah, blah. And so they're interviewing the doctor afterwards. He's like, well, yeah, with somebody like Lou, it's a little bit difficult. He was like, because even getting x-rays, he's like, normally when you have somebody who's 300 pounds, it's 300 pounds in their fat. He's 300 pounds of pure muscle, so we really can't even get accurate x-rays because his muscle's so thick. Like it's
Oh
just like
wow.
insane to like imagine a human being like that, you know, like he has zero fat on him. The doctor's like, we can't even really x-ray him because without
He's too
poisoning him.
thick.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, dude. As a kid, the Lou Ferrigno Hulk, awesome.
Yeah.
It just the rage, just the you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, so cool.
And so that's one of the things that I do think, part of me thinks that they are going to, with this show, lead to a standalone Hulk movie. Now, I looked up some of the stuff. So Marvel owns the production rights. They can make as many Hulk movies as they want legally. However, Universal owns the distribution rights, which means they can go, we don't have to put it in any uh, theater, period. Now, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if that means that they could completely release it on Disney Plus, or if Universal could say, no, you can't release it on Disney Plus because we own the distribution rights. I don't know how that works. But again, too, but as long as he's not the only character, as long as Hulk is not the only character, they can release it however they want. That's the caveat, that while they've been able to put him in Avengers and all this other stuff, and distribute it how they like. So a solo Hulk movie they can't do, or they can produce, they can make, but they can't distribute how they want. And I couldn't figure out who the money goes to and all that stuff. But so with what they're doing here with She-Hulk, and it's interesting. I watched some YouTube videos about theories and stuff like that, and a lot of people broke a lot of stuff down. But one of the main scenes to me was, it's a little one-off scene, and he says, "Okay, since I'm done testing your blood, I got to destroy it. And he uses all those lasers. And she's like, that was a little dramatic. And he's like, well, if this got into the wrong hands, it could, do bad things or whatever. Like, I think that's a much bigger scene than people are giving credit for. Because if you remember back to the Incredible Hulk movie with Ed Norton, his blood did drip into the leader's head.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, uh, Tim Blake, basically Delmer from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? But and so they're bringing in the leader there, and
Do you,
it's
do you think
never
they're going to bring
occurred
him
again.
back?
I think a lot. I think so. And then the ship was from Sakaar, so something's going to try and bring him back to Sakaar. So I think the leader is going to be somehow involved, and I think that they. So they've been talking about World War Hulk for a while. Like, that's such a big thing to do. But World War Hulks was another Marvel spinoff where basically uh, everybody in the Marvel universe turned into a Hulk, and Hulk had to, well, not everybody, but a lot of them had, and Hulk had to fight them out. I don't think that's going to happen with the heroes, but I think it's going to lead to something to where the blood gets out, the leader, because of the leader, and creates, other Hulks that they have to fight off. Maybe not this season or something like that, but like, I think they're going down that road maybe instead. And at the same time, the Sakaar thing might lead to Son of Hulk, Scar, which they might transition to and be like, hey, here's the new Hulk. Ruffalo's gone. We own all the rights to Scar, and move from there. You know what I mean?
What do you think the possibility of maybe something, the ship is back because he already made a son in the years that he was off being a gladiator?
Maybe. I mean, so maybe
Because
that could very.
he's like, they're trying to send me a message or something. You know what I mean? I got to look into that. Maybe it's like, hey, you missed your child support payments. We need you to come back come back up here. Or hey, you have a son. Or I was just curious about that. I was wondering, like,
They could do that. However, if they're going to actually do a World War Hulk, to me that diminishes the story, because in the actual World War Hulk, he loved his wife. He loved, and she was pregnant whenever she died. But he loved her so much, and this and that, and that's why he turned into World Breaker Hulk. And so if they do that here, and it's like you knocked up this chick, and he hadn't even mentioned her once, like, it diminishes the story. Even I'm not saying they might absolutely be doing that and doing it like the MCU way, but I think it's going to be something to kind of call him back, because it's he'll be there a little bit, give She-Hulk her time, and then be like, I got to go back to Sakaar, and then he might create and build a family, and stuff happens.
I've heard some other things too, and I don't know if it's just a bunch of Reddit rumors or whatnot, but I've heard other things where, like, some of the terms of the Universal licensing deal are about to expire. Some of that it's about to expire in like 2024 or something, or 2025.
Oh, okay.
Like coming soon. And that might be why they're basically setting up a foundation for once that happens. I don't know that that's true. I've just read some different things here and there online and seen different things, and it's there's BS all over the place. But
well, sure.
Confirmation bias. We want to see a Hulk movie so bad that you're like, yeah, it's gonna expire. You get excited about it and completely geek out.
We have been seeing stuff about World War Hulk for a while now. It's not like it just keeps kind of popping up. It doesn't mean it's true, but it just keeps kind of popping up. And at the same time, too, I was reading some articles where they were saying there are holes within the next two phases of the Marvel timeline or whatever, release schedule. And they were like, what are these holes for? Something's going to be filled in here, blah, blah, blah. And like, so it could be, I think it's kind of leaning that way, or something akin to that. I don't know, but that's the thing with the Hulk character, because like you were saying, some bro flakes were like, man, She-Hulk totally beat Hulk, like that's bullcrap, what's up with this? And it's like, first of all, he was training her, so he's not going to be like, do the best thing that I could do ever. Like you don't do that when you're training somebody. It's like, do this.
Plus, he threw the
And-
boulder into space. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, let me just, okay, you're doing great job there, Padawan. Let me reinforce who's the badass here.
Yeah.
He throws a boulder into space.
Yeah, he's not going to be like, go out there. Like anytime you're training somebody, you don't go, okay, here's the best thing that I can possibly do. You do it now. You don't do that. Like, so, but at the same time as well,
If they're talking about the
Go ahead.
claps, though, like if he was really wanting to fight her, those claps wouldn't stop him. You know what I mean? That's his
Right.
that's his cousin that he loves. It's like his first cousin that he's not gonna hurt. It's a female first cousin is practically like is like a sister. You're not gonna physically hurt them. So like yeah, he tossed her around a little bit, but I mean when she starts doing those claps, he just takes it. You know what I mean? It's
but it was good. It was good too because like that's like they always attack him with sound, and like that's basically what she recreated, and like I don't think it was knowingly or anything like that.
Yeah.
But like in that, so he was like, all right, well, like now let's get mad, but and at the same time too, Professor Hulk was one of the weakest versions of the Hulk because he had both at the same time. He had the super strength and he had the intelligence. So it wasn't as if he was this out of control monster because that's the danger. Being the out of control monster. That's the dangerous thing. So he's one of the weakest versions. And also there, he's experimenting on himself. Like I think something big is coming for the Hulk that they're building up to here. But they're gonna, like I said, he's gonna push off the show and then walk away, and then it'll be explained somewhere else. But so yeah, just relax, guys. It's not this giant feminist plot, like just calm down. Like,
and also it kind of is a chick show. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah.
ooh, Clint called it a chick show. Sorry, guys. But yeah, like, I mean, it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be. It's supposed to have a taste. I said this before. I was like, with some people talking. I don't know. I think I'm not gonna like it from what I've read. Blah blah blah. I'm like, you haven't even watched the show yet. You've already made your verdict. You haven't even watched the show yet. And I go, look, man, if you like the old school Hulk, and you like and you want to see something fun, and you're not too macho to sit through an episode of Sex and the City, you'll love this show. It's fun. Like it's fun. It was good action. It was funny. Like I thought it was cool. I didn't see anything wrong with. I thought it was cool seeing that he had it showed also like a dark, wounded side to Hulk. His demons, like he's playing cool and entertaining his cousin and being a good host, but there was things like seeing Iron Man's helmet there, you know what I mean? Yep. And then I don't know if you noticed, but in the background his Gladiator helmet was in the background as a decoration and stuff, but it really gave me a sense of it kind of opened up his character, just the things they alluded to where it's like this guy's got a lot of demons and spends a lot of time alone trying to deal with that stuff. And it's one thing in the Bill Bixby Hulk where it's just a guy walking from town to town, dun 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 dun, with the super sad theme song and all that. But like in this, you're like, no, he's here isolated, really trying to deal with stuff, and you get a taste of that. I don't think we're going to see a lot more of him in this show. I think that was just the intro, pushed her back in, and I think now you might see him later, or you might see some kind of credit.
I think probably like second to last episode or something like that. He might pop in, or
or that boulder will land somewhere in.
And then we've got Armageddon, or like Bruce Willis is like jumping on that boulder right now to drill a hole in it. Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, and Tatiana Maslany, dude, super likable. Like immediately, I that's what I told that guy. I was like, look, man, if you like Orphan Black, and you like the Incredible Hulk, you're gonna have a good time. Like it's good. Tatiana Maslany. If you haven't seen Orphan Black, guys at home, go watch that show. That series is really fun, and I know I've talked about it, but she plays like 10 characters. She's got an Emmy award. She's won Emmys for that series. Like, she's really good. She plays a whole bunch of clones, and she didn't know. None of them knew they were clones. And they just and they, like, one of them runs into another version of herself, and who ends up jumping in front of a train, and she takes her purse. Her purse was left there. She's like, "Oh my God!" Freaks out. Well, first she's freaking out because she's seeing somebody who looks just like her. And then the person jumps in front of a train and kills himself in front of her. And she's like, "Oh my God." And then she just runs and grabs her purse and runs off before anybody gets there or anything. She's kind of a con artist anyway, kind of a street person, like pickpocket type. And so then she goes through her bag and finds her ID, looks just like her, whole bunch of credit cards, her address on the ID and all that, and just starts trying to step into her life and fake being her. And once that happens, all these things start unfolding, and there's all these different versions from different countries. So she's playing like 5-6 different characters at the same time with different accents: British accent, Russian accent, American accent, soccer mom accent, like a Karen soccer mom accent, like all these different accents, and she's just fantastic. And so, like, she was a super talent just from that. I knew. So as soon as I found out they cast her for She-Hulk, I said, "Oh, this is going to be great," because the whole time she's doing that, she looks like she's having a lot of fun. There's a lot of moments of just her, and it's weird because she's hanging out with herself. There'll be like 3 different versions of her, which she clearly filmed all of those. She doesn't have any twins. Like, it's her, and they look like they're having fun with each other. And for me, seeing that, I know, like, oh, she's going to be doing scenes with a CGI Hulk, and she's going to look like she's having fun. And an example of what I'm talking about is the drunk post-credit scene that she has where they're talking about Captain America, and she's like, "Captain America," and she looked like she was a drunk person having a good time. It's like, what I mean? It was fun. Bobby, I don't know
what is it?
I found that it's called Orphan Black. I watched it on Amazon Prime, I believe, but it's a fantastic show. There's a lot of episodes too. Hey, Charlie Wilson says I need World War Hulk. Yeah, we were just talking about that, and you're right, dude. I'm ready. I'm ready to see a lot more Hulk. Like, I was going to say, I saw an interview where they basically asked, like, "Hey, what do you want to see from a Hulk movie, out of a Hulk movie?" And they said, "Okay." And then they chopped all those things up and dropped them into other movies. So, like, they turned all of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk into bits and pieces in different movies because they couldn't make the movie. So you still get to see all of those things in the development, but they're spread out. So, like, if you took his storyline from all the movies, it equals a Hulk movie. I think that's cool, but now I'm ready to see more Hulk. And I'm ready to get rid of Professor Hulk.
Me too. He's my least favorite.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think what would be cool, like, so Charlie, did you watch She-Hulk? But like, they haven't talked about Joe Fixit yet, and that's but there's so many theories.
There are. Charlie, I was just saying, seeing Orphan Black, like, you see her having fun with herself, other versions of herself, and that's why I knew that I would love her in this role. And you got a taste of that, like, just in the drinking and the post-credit scene for She-Hulk. That was a little taste of her having fun. That's what makes me think that the rest of the show is going to be fantastic, because she just brings that fun vibe to anything she does, and I think it's going to be cool. Curtis, you were going to say? You're talking about
No, well, I think I think they're going to lead to some. They've been rumoring about World War Hulk for a while, and I was thinking they might. It's not going to be World War Hulk as we know it. They might do some version, but I really think they're leaning more towards World War Hulks, which is, it's kind of right up the MCU's lane. and but I do think if you noticed the courier from Sakaar, they might bring Scar into it and have Scar be the new Hulk because Universal doesn't own the rights to that. That came out way after the deal. So they could just, and they're doing the Young Avengers kind of thing anyway and transitioning. So I could see them doing that very much.
Hmm.
2-part show. It'd have to be, and well, that's that's the thing with rights wise. They would have to have someone else involved because they can't do anything solo without
I I think they can do. I think they can do a Hulk series, but not a Hulk movie. I think I think they can do
that
TV.
might be true. I don't know.
So if that's the case, how cool would that be if they did a?
That'd be amazing.
If they just said, okay, we're just gonna make it we'll make it a 6-episode series, like the length of like Obi-Wan twice.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like make this huge thing.
And you know what they could do too? Chuck? Okay. So what they could do now that we got the Multiverse of Madness is that you've got him going back to Sakaar and either reuniting with a family, but again, like they got to show that a little bit, or building a family. And then when he goes back to Earth or whatever is happening, he entered whenever he went through, he entered the wrong universe, and then they blow him up, and he goes back and he can kill everybody in that other universe as World War Hulk, and then like have all the things from the comic, and then somehow get sucked back into our universe, and do that. I mean, they're probably not gonna do that, but like that way you could actually show the full story of World War Hulk, and have it be worthy.
Hey, I found this thing. Boom. Put this over there. Rumor rights could be returning to Disney June 2023. Well, it's already June. Oh, but it's 2022. I'm a year off.
You're Disney, right, but
while Disney and Marvel hold rights to developing movies starring the Hulk, Universal and Marvel reached an agreement in June of 2008 to distribute The Incredible Hulk. The Security and Exchange Commission filing from 2008 allows Universal to hold Hulk movie rights for 15 years, which would expire June 2023. While it is unconfirmed if there will be a sequel to The Incredible Hulk or if the rights are going to Disney, the SEC filing is the base of rumor from the Direct that rights for the Hulk will be given to Disney. So I don't know if that's legit or not, but that is where some of these rumors are coming from that we're
and that's hearing. Well, and that's what I mean. Like I think they're building up to something, and that's why I researched it. I was trying to figure out what was going on because it looks like they're building up to some Hulk-based storyline for sure, and like that makes it even more. Like as we discussed earlier, there are holes in phase 4 and 5, or I'm sorry, 5 and 6 for the movies, and that makes much more sense, like because that would be perfect. You release this now and hit a couple more movies, you got multiverses going on, and shabbity bang, babada boom.
And could they could also be saving something interesting to release at D23
for sure.
You know what I mean? That's what I mean. People would just shit themselves. They would just like wet their pants. Like if all of a sudden they're like, oh, and by the way, guys, we had these holes. Ba-dum!
What if they do like so? At the end of She-Hulk, Hulk goes back to Sakaar, and then the next movie is called Hulk Homecoming instead of Spider-Man Homecoming, but it's like World War Hulk Part 1. Like the first half of the movie is him on Sakaar with his family, and then they blow it to shit, and it's Hulk Homecoming instead of Spider-Man. Like, oh, I'm coming home. It's like I'm coming home. It's the Hulk.
And what explains the Bruce Banner or the Professor Hulk disappearing? His inability to
Yeah,
stabilize the two.
well, that's what I mean. So he goes back to the car as Professor Hulk, and then they kill his fucking family, and it's like he can't do it. Like the
He's too
rage
pissed.
just takes over. Like I mean, that's like the rage just takes over because as World Breaker Hulk, he was cognizant. He could talk and have a conversation, and he was just like, I'm having none of it. Like
He was
I'm
just so
killing.
angry that
Yes,
everyone is
like
going to pay.
he was at peace and happy, and then had a family, and they destroyed it all. Like, and he was like, yes, yes,
Everyone is about to feel what I'm feeling right now.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
you guys
exactly.
are all going to
All
pay.
I bring is pain. All I bring is pain.
Oh man. Yeah, dude. I'm with you, Charlie. I want to see that. I want to see angry Hulk. Just when he's like, like I love that.
And he's so angry, and that's the madder he gets, the stronger he gets. So it's just like, now Thor was dead at the time, but they did have the Sentry in the comic. So that's what I mean. A multiverse thing would be perfect for this, but like, just man, what they could do with this if they did it right. Oh God. I mean,
Well,
you'd have to villainize the Hulk a little bit, but
yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, that's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, it's like that's what I'm saying. It's okay.
He's already a villain to some people, to Sokovians that don't like
Yeah,
him very
well, sure,
much.
yeah.
Like
And I agree with what you're saying earlier. Like I did like how they went down that rabbit hole with this one. He's like, he's like, once you're called a monster, like that doesn't go away. Like he didn't it proved like he doesn't like the Hulk. And what was good too is he's like, you don't feel like there's somebody else in the driver's seat, and she's like, no, but she will. Like that is one of the good parts about the She-Hulk comic. It's not that she has this conflict of like Banner versus Hulk. It's that she feels more confident as She-Hulk. She feels more powerful as She-Hulk. So she's like she has to fight herself to not turn into She-Hulk. Like Banner doesn't want to turn into the Hulk. She's like fighting like she's like, I want to turn into the Hulk at She-Hulk at every chance because she's more confident, she's more powerful, she doesn't have to worry about anything. And so she's like, but I still want to be me too. So it's like it's this great dichotomy where they're, you know, and yeah,
Dude,
they set it up perfect, man. It's
we
very
all
good.
have a little bit of the Hulk inside of us, to where it's like try setting up your new printer and you can't get it to sync up with your computer, and no matter what, you've downloaded every driver and you can't, and you have to print this thing out, and now all of a sudden the clock is ticking and you're running late, and then you finally get it, and then you're out of toner, and then you end up tossing the printer across the room. I've done it a lot with a lot of things, and I hate that. But there's certain things I'll be trying to do something with a wrench in a car or something, and all of a sudden it slips off the bolt, and I end up bloody in my knuckles. Next thing you know, that wrench is flying across the street. I'll throw that wrench into space, and now I'm not always in a situation at a anger level to where I will punch through my computer screen or anything. I'm not a rage monster or anything like that. But there are times when it still happens. Every now and then something will push you to the point to where you do something stupid, like punch your monitor or something. And you know, I used to be a lot more like that when I was younger.
Of course.
But when I was younger, but still, it's there, and it's like, except his is cranked up all the time, which is wild.
Well, and that's why kids like it's amazing that they haven't been able to make the Hulk a more profitable character, because he is an A-list character, because kids love him, because that's their life cycle, that's their identity, that's their emotion cycle. Like they don't freak out when Hulk just hulks out and goes nuts and smashes stuff, because they're like, that's what I would do, because they haven't learned to regulate their emotions yet. So kids love Hulk so much, and like they haven't been able to make him this. I mean, he's an Avenger, he's an A-list character, but like giving him his own movies and stuff, they haven't found a way to make it work. But at the same time, I think a lot of it is, like we talked about before, getting the right Bruce Banner is very important. Bill Bixby was in a series, so it was able to make it. We understood Bill Bixby as a character, and we understood the Hulk. But whenever it's like you got they're saying it never works, and they've done 2 movies. Eric Bana, and Fight Club.
Edward Norton.
Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's 2 movies, guys, and you're like, it'll never work. You just can't make a Hulk movie. Like, what are you talking? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Now that we've got Ruffalo, it would absolutely make sense. And I think Marvel's realizes that, and every indication that we've been talking about makes me think there's a Hulk movie coming up.
I think like Bill Bixby had a sweetness about him, like a nice, like he was like a sweet guy. And I think Mark Ruffalo, it's like a gentle thing, and I think it needs to be more of a contrast than Eric Bana. I feel like I could see
He's a tough
him.
guy.
I could, if you've seen Bruno, you're like Have you seen that movie? I think it's called Bruno. He plays an Australian serial killer. Not serial. He is a serial killer. He basically becomes a vigilante. That this is based on a true story. He was the highest selling Australian author.
Hitman.
He's an author, and basically he comes out of prison, and the authorities kind of know he's killing people, but he's killing people. This is in real life. He was going and killing bad people, basically a vigilante, and they just kind of let it happen because he was getting it done, And
if it ain't broke,
I'm
just saying.
And the guy wrote books about it. We need to do that movie. That was a crazy movie. The guy wrote
Bruno
books,
versus Bruno, the Sacha Baron Cohen movie that I thought you were talking about. And I was like, what?
And he wrote books about these things, and it became a super high selling. I think it's called Bruno, but yeah, he became one of the highest selling authors from prison, or maybe post prison. I don't remember the details because it's been a long time since I saw it. But it's Eric Bana, or Bana, however you say his name.
Yeah.
Well, and so like I could believe that he was going to kick my ass. He does, you know what I mean? Like I've seen Edward Norton is kind of a little bit of a not a buff dude or anything, but he also is.
He's an intense guy.
He can come off kind of like a dick. You know what I mean? Like, and so I don't believe him as the gentle soul.
He was better than Bana, but
but still, it's almost like, don't make me angry. You're not gonna like me if I'm angry. Like, I'm in Fight Club, man. Like, you're not gonna like me if I get mad. Whereas like
Mark Ruffalo's claim to fame was romantic comedies before this.
Yeah, and Mark Ruffalo's
like,
just it's almost like he'd be the guy who get his ass kicked out in public. Like, he would never get into a fight until he switches. And Bill Bixby's like that too. It's like I don't know.
No, but that's what I'm saying. You make a good point. That's Mark Ruffalo. His claim to fame was romantic comedies before this. Like, that's what he was in. Like, that's all I remember him in. And when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh my god, what the hell is going on?" But he just nailed it. And like, that's the thing too. Like, you're right. He's not an aggressive person. Like, even in what is the Atom Project with Ryan
Reynolds.
Like, him as his dad, like, it was just like, he's like, what are you, like, what are you doing? He played a smart guy.
Nice
he played
guy.
it like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's just such a nice guy, and that's what I mean. Like, like, it's the guys that don't want to fight there. Like,
dude, they
really don't want to fight you. Like, it really like
they should have cast the guy who plays George Costanza. Like, he's not intimidating at all. Like,
you're making me so angry.
Don't make me angry. You're not gonna like me. Then he's like, I told you not to make me angry.
Hulk likes his chicken spicy.
and actually give Hulk the hairline too. That'd be hilarious.
Or the hair grows back, and the only reason it changes into Hulk so he can have a full head of hair. Like,
what is his name? Jason Alexander? Is that his name?
Yeah. Jason Alexander.
That guy. I love that guy. He's great.
Exactly, Bobby. 13 going on 30. That was Ruffalo, and he was in several of them. My wifey made me watch them. But like, and I was like, oh my god. And kind of the same way I felt about whenever Hugh Jackman got cast for Wolverine. Now, this was way before, But I was like, this fucking guy, oh my god, like what? And then they just nailed it. Like you don't screw something like that up. And I'm not saying they're screwing it up, but at the same time, like they deserve their own starring role. You know, he deserves to be in a Hulk film. Uh, yeah, Lucky.
It's
I love you more.
it's not Bruno, it's Chopper.
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 That
Yeah.
sounds familiar.
Dude, it's gnarly.
Nothing. I think you're thinking of Bronson with
Look at this image. He doesn't need to
my
turn
cousin.
in. He doesn't need to turn into the Hulk. You know what I
That's
mean?
my
Like,
cousin.
like this movie right
Well,
here.
And even in Troy with Brad Pitt and stuff like that, he was fucking. I haven't seen that.
See this film the first chance you get. Yeah, this movie is gnarly, dude.
So he
It's
basically got out of prison and was a vigilante, and then wrote books about being a vigilante, and like
yeah,
became a
but
best-selling author.
it's I don't know if he wrote the books before or a while in. I don't remember the order of events, but
But that's what happened.
yeah, it's wild. Let's see here. There we go.
It's an Australian guy.
Yeah, it's Eric Bana, but in real life he's real. So I'm gonna read a synopsis since we're going off track anyway.
Yeah, let's do it. This is still news to me.
Yeah, this is good. This is good stuff. Is this it though? And it's adapted from a movie, so I mean from a book. So it's America had Al Capone, England had Cray brothers, and Australia proving once and for all its anti-Podian sense of humor as Mark Chopper Reed. Chopper is inspired by the books of Mark Brandon Chopper Reed, arguably Australia's most famous former criminal. Chopper draws on police records, court transcripts, Chopper, news coverage and interviews with people he knew. Chopper Reed. Oh, let's see here. A biographical drama about the exploits and prison years of an Australian criminal, Mark Chopper Reed, is a much watch for students of screen acting. This is another thing. But yeah, it's wild. It's a wild movie.
We do that versus Wolf Creek.
What's Wolf Creek?
Oh, if you haven't seen Wolf Creek, it's a great horror movie. But what's interesting is the villain for Wolf Creek was pulled from an Australian gardening show or something like that, or like Good Morning America, their version of that, to be this villain. And he was like, okay, whatever. And it was just this indie Australian horror flick that was made, but it's very good. The first one, I think I've seen the second one. I don't remember it, so I guess it's not that great. And so that happened. Okay, all right, life goes on. Well, then the guy that got the job as the villain, and he plays the villain so spectacularly. He plays this serial killer, like murderer guy, so great. Anybody that like wronged him after the movie was done, he would leave voice messages in character as like he's gonna fucking murder him. And like I don't know if he went to jail or he almost went to jail. Like this guy that was like and he was like a gardening show guy. Hello, welcome to gardening with Greg or whatever. Like and like it's just, and then he became this villain, and like he would like call people and be like, so that's what you want to do, eh? All right. Yeah. Let's see how that works out for you. And it's like, oh my, like, and he got in big time trouble, like for basically intimidating people with this character from the screen. And like, he either went to jail or didn't go to jail. But anyway, Aussies are crazy. And
That's
we love
funny,
it.
man. Well, hey, I just looked at the time, and we got to get ready for the other show.
Oh, snappity dap.
It's almost 8. So I'm gonna pull a plug on this thing, guys. If you haven't seen She-Hulk yet, Go check it out.
Yes.
The show is fantastic. If you're having fun hanging out with me and Curtis, why don't you tune back in here in 5 or so minutes, and we're going to be doing a show, Bridesmaids versus Bad Moms on Versus. So that's going to be a good time. Bridesmaids versus Bad Moms, and exciting, man. This is going to be a good time. Magical birthday episode, and
Yes.
yes, sir. So, Charlie, Bobby, we'll see you in a little bit. Did you say Bobby? Clint, quit doing that. Damn it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. We'll see you in a few. I'm pulling the plug. She-Hulk lovers, over and out. Bro Flakes, suck it.